Hello everybody, welcome back to channel 72. Welcome back for another video on the channel. Now today we are here for my Sky Bet League One predictions. My 1 to 24 is finally here. I know some of you have been really excited for this one. Before we do get started, just a couple of things I'd like to get through, a couple of errands. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who supported the first video on the channel. The introduction video went down really well. Really appreciate all the support, all the likes and all the subscribes. Been able to reach over 100 subscribers within a week of that video going out, so massive thank you to you guys, and looking forward to providing you with some new content as the season goes on. I will be doing Championship and League 2 1 to 24s also this week, so do keep an eye out for that. Please do make sure to like, comment and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss another channel 72 video. Also, one last final plug. Me and a couple of friends actually have started a League One podcast. That League One podcast with myself, Wardy, Nappers and Tom from 4-0 written all over it. The link to the link tree will be down in the description below for you to go and check that out. Some really interesting stuff going on there, so if you could go and give us a listen and a follow. There is also Patreon if you are interested. All the details are in the description. So enough waffling, should we get into our 1 to 24s? I'm clearly putting it off because I'm a bit deluded. Now, I don't claim to know everybody's football club inside and out. I don't know the situations going on at all the football clubs. So if you do think that I have misplaced your football club, if you think they're going to finish higher or lower, please let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be really intrigued to see if we can get some debate going as to where your football club will finish. So let's get into the 1 to 24s, starting in last place. So in last place, and somebody has got to come last, unfortunately, I have gone for Port Vale. Now, I know a lot of Port Vale fans will be seething at the prospect of me putting them in last position. However, the biggest reason as to why I've put them in last place is the appointment of manager Andy Crosby. I can understand the need for continuity at this level. Sometimes it does really well. You know, you look at Exeter, they've done it fantastically throughout the years. However, I'm just concerned that Andy Crosby has no managerial experience. If Darryl Clark was in charge at Port Vale, I'd absolutely be getting all over them to stay in the division. However, not too keen on the manager. They did take a long time to get over the line last season. The second half of last season, they've come into 23-24 in some woeful form, not hit the ground running last year at all after the January window. And I look at the squad and it's very defender and midfield heavy. Ellis Harrison is one of the only strikers. Lots of strikers have left the football club. James Wilson has been on trial at Fleetwood. Jamie Proctor's gone to Barrow as well, so they need more forwards through the door. I like some of the business. Connor Ripley, Connor Grant, great additions. Intrigued to see how they get on, but unfortunately I have got the Valiants to finish in 24th place. 23rd then, and joining Port Vale in Sky Bet League 2 next season will be Cambridge United. Now, Cambridge stayed up on the last day with a miraculous win over Forest Green Rovers. However, I look at the squad and they're significantly weakened. Let's look at the outgoings first. They've lost the spine of their team. Dimi Mitov in goal, Lloyd Jones at centre-back. They've lost Joe Ironside, the big target man, as well as wide players Sam Smith and Harvey Nibbs, who contributed a lot of goals last season for the U's. I think they're going to struggle when you have to replace the core like that. I don't think they're going to get on very well. I look at who's come in. Jack Stevens is a great goalkeeper. I think he's done well with Oxford and at Port Vale last year as well. I think Sully Kaikai and Gasson had may underwhelmed me a little bit. Yes, they're fantastic players on their day. However, you look at last season and they didn't perform to the highest level. So for me, unfortunately, I have got Cambridge United slipping back into League 2 under Mark Bonner in 23rd. 22nd then, and my first controversial pick of the video. Didn't take long at all, did it? I have gone for Shrewsbury Town. Now, I won't be very popular in the county of Shropshire, I am more than aware. I don't think the off-field problems at Shrewsbury are going to help them on the pitch whatsoever. They've clearly gone for a change in strategy. Mickey Moore has come in as Director of Football or Sporting Director, whichever one you want to call it, and they've appointed Matty Taylor, an inexperienced manager like Andy Crosby at Port Vale. I don't really see it working too well. Granted, there's a lot of inexperienced managers in this league. Steven Schumacher is probably the best profile of which to go and emulate. However, losing Steve Cotterill is a massive reason as to why I've put them down here. Steve Cotterill kept them in the division fairly comfortably over the last couple of years, stabilised them at this level, and I look at the business as well. It doesn't scream out on a page at me. Morgan Feeney maybe being the best bit of business. So unfortunately, as well as losing the likes of Pennington to Blackpool and Luke Leahy to Wycombe Wanderers, I do see Salop struggling this year, and I've got them in 22nd place. Right then, my last relegated team. Now, let me just let you guys know that this is probably the hardest bottom four of League One that we've had to pick in a couple of years, really. Unfortunately, I have gone with the Cumbrians, Carlisle United. Now, I understand there'll be a feel-good factor back at Brunton Park following promotion, and I really like Paul Simpson as a manager. I think he has done some great things at Carlisle in terms of getting the fan base behind the football club again. They've signed pretty well. Sean Maguire's a great signing, Sam Lavelle as well as keeping the loanees that did really well at Brunton Park last year, the likes of Alfie McCalmont from Leeds, also the likes of Jack Robinson and Ben Barclay. They could well stay up, Carlisle. I think they'll make a good fist of it, and I think it's going to be close. However, I can just see them returning to Sky Bet League 2 in May, unfortunately. So in 21st, I've gone for Carlisle United. So, staying up by the absolute skin of their teeth, I have gone for Cheltenham Town. Now, lots of people have predicted Cheltenham to get relegated this year due to the loss of Alfie May. I think that is quite a poor opinion, personally. I think that despite Alfie May going, and he is a massive loss for them, 20 league goals last season, it's difficult to replicate that amount of goals. I feel like they already had the replacement in the building. Aidan Keener signed last January and really impressed me towards the back end of last season. Chipped in with a couple of really good goals. Played pretty well also at Central Bank when we beat them 2-0 over Easter weekend. Again, I like some of the business. Curtis Davis will add much needed experience along with Sean Long along the back line. You've also then got the return of Luke Southwood in goal. Had a really good season for the Robins last season, so I can imagine he's going to have another good season with them this year as well. I think it's going to be close, and I was really torn between Cheltenham and Carlisle to stay up. Fortunately for the Robins, I have gone for Cheltenham Town to finish in 20th place. Just. In 19th then, I have got the first of the three relegated sides from the Sky Bet Championship. I've gone for Reading. Now, I really wanted to go big on Reading this year. I look at the four players they've brought in: Sam Smith, Harvey Nibbs, Lewis Wing, Charlie Savage, all excellent League One players and can definitely do a job and make an impact towards the top end of this division. However, and it's so sad that I have to keep saying this, especially regarding Reading and football clubs up and down the country, is the off-field antics of the football club and the people that own it that really make me think that Reading aren't going to have a very good season. I think it's going to be an awful season for Royals fans, if I'm honest. I like Ruben Sellers. I think he had a pretty okay time in charge of Southampton in the Premier League last season. Didn't pull up any trees, but saw them get relegated. Obviously, the issues with HMRC might mean that four of their new signings can't even play on opening weekend, as well as a depleted squad. The likes of Yiadom, McIntyre and Holmes and Bazounis may have to be sold in order to generate funds. So for me, I think Reading are going to struggle this year, unfortunately, due to the off-pitch antics. However, if they can get a takeover sorted, if they can recruit similarly to what they have done in the first couple of weeks of the window, I think they might finish a little bit higher. So let's wait and see, but Reading in 19th. 18th then, and I've gone for the second of the newly promoted sides. I've gone for Northampton Town. Now, for me, Northampton Town's promotion last season was probably the most impressive out of all four of them, purely because of what happened in the 21-22 season, getting so close to automatic promotion, doing your bit on the final day and losing out purely because Scunthorpe conceded 7 goals to Bristol Rovers. You'd be gutted. However, they dusted themselves off. They won promotion from League 2 last season comfortably, finishing in 3rd place. I really like the squad. They've done the bulk of their business towards the back end of last year, tying some of their big players down to new contracts. Sam Hoskins, Ben Fox, Williams is another one that signed a new contract as well. Really like some of the business they brought in. Patrick Brough is an excellent left back at the division below. See if he can make the step up. Manny Month as well did okay with Walsall. Be intrigued to see if he can make the step up. And then also Mark Leonard had a stellar season with them on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion, and Tyrese Simpson. Those two together, coupled up with the likes of Sam Hoskins, will mean that they're dangerous in the final third. I also really like John Brady. I think when he first came into the job, when they got relegated during the COVID season, you could see what he was trying to do, play better football. They got promoted playing better football. I don't think they'll be so direct. So for me, I've got Northampton comfortably staying up in 18th. 17th then, and I have gone for a little bit of a drop off for the Grecians, Exeter City. Now this is due to a number of reasons really. They've lost a lot of key players, Giovanni Brown being a massive loss as well. He obviously hasn't played since January, so it's not too big of a loss. However, the likes of Stansfield, Josh Key, Archie Collins all leaving the football club in a short space of time will cause a little bit of carnage for the Grecians, you'd think. Replaced them pretty well. I think they've done pretty well in the transfer window. If they can keep Sam Nombe's linked with a move to Charlton this week, that would be massive for them as well in terms of retaining a few goals. I really like Vincent Harper, scored a really good goal in pre-season in a loss against Coventry on Saturday. And Dion Rankin comes with rave reviews from Chelsea, so really excited to see how they get on. And under Gary Caldwell, a really smart tactician at this level, I think they're going to be fine. A little bit worse than last year, but not much. I think Exeter are going to survive in 17th. 16th then, and I've gone for my mate Ben's favourite team, Fleetwood Town. Now, a lot of people have gone for Fleetwood to be relegated this season due to the ambiguity of the situation with their owner Andy Pilley and his sentencing in jail. Now, I can understand a lot of that. However, I look at the squad on paper and it's comfortably a League One squad. Scott Brown did a really good job there last year, progressed them from the season before where they only finished on 40 points. You've got to look at the players they've got in the squad already. The likes of Brendan Wiradu performed really well last year. Jack Marriott, Jaden Stockley, a front two at this level is going to guarantee goals. Phoenix Patterson, I bank, is going to have a lot better of a season this year as well. You've got to add to this Ryan Broom, a steady League One player, as well as Danny Mayer, the icing on the cake. Fleetwood probably need a couple of more, and I think Ben has said that in videos and streams recently, but I think they're going to be okay. I can't see them struggling too much. Fleetwood for me, 16th. So just short up the road into 15th, we've gone for Wigan Athletic. Now, they are starting on -8 points. I think that is the elephant in the room. However, I think they've faced adversity before. During the COVID season, they were stripped of all their really good players and they were able to stay up pretty comfortably towards the back end of the season. I understand they're 8 points behind everybody, it's 3 games to get to parity, but you look at some of the additions that they've brought in, the likes of Johnny Smith, Matt Smith, and I find it crazy that Bayern Munich are lending youngsters to clubs in League One. So really fascinating. I think that Maloney as well is a top coach, obviously played at the top level for Wigan, will understand the football club and what it means to represent them. I think that he's worked under Roberto Martinez as well, so really looking forward to seeing how he gets on in League One. I just think we're going to comfortably survive. I think it's they're going to try and stabilise at this level and then push on and try and compete in the top end of the division next year, which we all know they can do because they've done it previously. So for me, Wigan 15th and comfortable. So in 14th, I have gone for the Sky Bet League 2 champions of last season, Leyton Orient. Now, I think Leyton Orient, whilst they have lost a lot of big players, Paul Smythe, Lawrence Vigouroux moving to QPR and Burnley respectively, they're both massive losses. I think you've just got to look at the recruitment that Orient have been able to produce in the last couple of weeks. Joe Pigott probably being a standout after a good spell with Portsmouth last year. Ethan Galbraith, another really good signing. Max Sanders, I know as a Lincoln City supporter, can be a very steady midfielder at this level. Idris El Mazouni played a massive part in their promotion last year. To get him back and beat off competition for him was a massive coup. Then you look at the goalkeeping department. Sol Bryn was maybe one of the best performing goalkeepers in Sky Bet League 2 last year at Swindon Town. And you've got to think, newly promoted clubs, they come up with a lot of momentum. You think of Cambridge and Cheltenham a couple of years ago. You think of Exeter and Bristol Rovers last year as well. So for me, Leyton Orient, really like it. Richie Wellens, a very good manager for this level. Ignore the the spell at Doncaster Rovers. There were problems off the pitch there, and for me I think Leyton Orient will comfortably survive and impress quite a few at this level. 14th for the O's. So in 13th I have gone for the gas, Bristol Rovers. Now I can see my mate One Rovers vlog shaking his head vigorously at me. And look, I really like some of the recruitment the Bristol Rovers have made. Giovanni Brown, whilst he's got a bit of a history off the pitch, is a very good signing. James Wilson as well. I like Matt Cox on loan from Brentford. I think they've made some interesting signings. George Friend, another one who's got lots and bags of experience at the level above, so recruited really well. My biggest questions over Bristol Rovers, and I think it would be fair, is Aaron Collins is a player that had a really good season last year, was given League One Player of the Season, maybe dubiously, but performed really well in the first half of last season and fell off a cliff. There's a lot of rumours circling about that Championship clubs are interested. I have seen that Stoke have been targeting the centre forward, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep a hold of him. If they can, potentially they're the dark horses for the playoffs. I also don't really rate Joey Barton as a manager. I think he's a bit of a crybaby. He doesn't really stand up to things. He gets the fans believing what he wants, but I think it's only going to break in tears. So unfortunately, Charlie, I have gone for Bristol Rovers to finish in 13th. Progression on last year though, so that's a positive. So in 12th, I have gone for the last of the newly promoted sides. I've gone for Stevenage. Now, I draw a lot of parallels from this current Stevenage squad to the Gillingham squad that in the COVID season nearly broke into the playoffs. I say nearly, they were a couple of points off but played way more games than anybody else. I think that Steve Evans signs players that he knows can cut the mustard at this level. He's brought in Alex McDonald, who he's had at Mansfield and at Gillingham, Nathan Thompson, Louis Thompson, Ben Thompson, all players that have and Dan Butler as well to add to that list, all players that have cut it at this level, played Championship football as well, and really like some of the recruitment. They've been able to keep a lot of the key players as well. They have lost Donny Rose, but Jake Forster-Caskey signed a new contract. They're able to retain Tay Ashby-Hammond from Fulham, so I really like Stevenage and what they've done. I think again, like Leyton Orient, they'll have momentum. I think they're going to cause a few surprises this year. They maybe be direct. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think they're going to bloody a lot of noses up towards the top end of League One next season. So interesting, but for me, the Borough are going to finish halfway in 12th. Right, in 11th, and just about breaking the top half, I've gone for many people's dark horses, Burton Albion. Now, Burton recruited incredibly smartly over this window. The main one that sticks out, Cole Stockton, lots of goals over the last couple of seasons for Morecambe. Scored, I think it was 10 or 11 goals for a relegated Morecambe side last season. Hit form towards the back end of the year as well. So they signed a player in form. The likes of Jake Caprice, really clever pickup. Jamal Blackman as well. Raheem Harper, the list goes on. Added to that, they've already got a good core of players. Mark Helm is someone that I think is going to perform really well. Former Manchester United Youth Academy player. So for me, added with Dino Mamria, I think he's a great manager, one of the best man motivators in the EFL. And since he's taken over, you'll find that Burton have been actually finishing in this sort of area of the table, not the 15th place where they came last year. Really like the recruitment, really like the football club. I think they're going in the right direction, and they might be able to take advantage of a weakened League One this year. So for me, the Brewers, 11th place. Right, in 10th, and I best get it out of the way, it's a bit of a fall from grace for our playoff finalists of last season. I've gone for Barnsley. Now, I think the reason I've gone for Barnsley to finish this low is the fact that Michael Duff has left the football club. You can see what the impact it had at Cheltenham Town when he left the football club. I think something similar is going to happen to Barnsley. He ran that football club from the bottom up, and I think you saw last year in some of the performances that towards the back end of the year they really got it and they were really playing really well. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to get over the line and beat Sheffield Wednesday in the capital in May. They've lost a lot of key players. Mads Anderson is probably the high profile one. He's gone up to the Premier League, to Luton. Does he deserve a Premier League move? Maybe, maybe not. You've also got the likes of Harry Easted hasn't come back. Brad Collins again. I've seen the recruitment, it doesn't scream out to me. I think they've brought in some good prospects from non-league. Lofthouse is a good wing back from Woking. Andy Dallas has scored for goals for fun at Solihull and Chesterfield. So intrigued to see how Barnsley are going to get on this season, but I think there might just a little bit be a bit of a fall in grace a little bit. Not too much. They'll still be competing for the playoffs, maybe towards sort of March, April, but I think they're going to fall short. I've got them in 10th. In 9th then, I have gone for the new look Wycombe Wanderers. Now, the reason I haven't quite gone as big on Wycombe as perhaps some other content creators is the fact that it's the club's first full season without Gareth Ainsworth at the helm. Matt Bloomfield is a manager that I like tactically. I like what he's trying to do in terms of playing the ball on the floor. However, I think it's going to take a bit of adjustment. I think Wycombe are a side to look out for in 24-25, and they're going to make a lot of progress in 23-24. I think they've signed incredibly well. At wing back, they've brought in Harry Boyes on loan from Sheffield United, who had a good spell at Lincoln last season. Kane Vincent-Young is also one of the better fullbacks going at this level. They've utilised the loan market really well with Cian Breckin from Manchester City. Potts as well as coming from West Ham, who had a big part, not a big part to play, but played a part and was part of the matchday squad in the West Ham Europa Conference League win in the summer as well. So one of the reasons as well I just can't go as big on Wycombe is the fact that the playing squad is currently full of Gareth Ainsworth players. Yes, you've got the lads that Matt Bloomfield has brought in, but the likes of Tafazoli, Grimmer, Scow and Vokes are all used to playing the way of Gareth Ainsworth. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time to prize that out of them and play football the Matt Bloomfield way. So really intrigued to see how it goes. But for me, I've gone for Wycombe in 9th. So in 8th then, and again just missing out on the playoffs, and I can see a certain head shaking at me, I've gone for Wardy's Oxford United. Now, I think that everyone's gone really big on Oxford this year. For me, they're still a little bit away from being a finished article. Look, I think Liam Mannon's a great manager. He's proved before at this level that he can get towards the top end with MK Dons, but he's also proved that he can go through streaky patches, hence why he lost his job at Stadium MK last year. I think the signings that they've made, Ruben Rodriguez is a fantastic pickup. Everyone in the EFL seemed to be after him. Beadle as well on loan from Brighton had a great spell at Crewe last year, and we've seen before in this division how lone goalkeepers can perform with Trafford and Rushford all playing at this level in the last couple of years. I just think that Oxford, maybe they're a number 9 away from it all really. I know they've recruited Mark Harris from Cardiff City. Whether he's going to cut the mustard or whether they're going to bring in someone else. They've obviously got a good squad. McGuane, Brannigan is a good footballer. They've got lots of very good footballers at Oxford, excuse me. Like I say, just falling short of the playoffs. Look, I think that between Oxford and the next two teams, I think it's going to be a real fight to the death for that last spot. I think Oxford are just going to fall up short. So sorry, Wardy. I've got your boys, Oxford United, to come 8th. So in 7th place, I have gone for my beloved Lincoln City. Now, I'm basing this on the way that we ended the 22-23 campaign under Mark Kennedy, playing some amazing, really attractive football and getting results first and foremost. I think we were 3rd in the form table over the last 15 games or so of the season. Again, I just think that some of our players that we've got on the books are due really big seasons. I look at the likes of Ethan Errahan, signed on deadline day from St Mirren, had a massive impact on the midfield unit. We've also got Ben House, who scored a lot of goals last season, but he's got to share that burden now with Tyler Walker, who has been at the football club before. He scores goals, he knows how to succeed in a Lincoln City shirt. And then Danny Mandroya as well, who I think I'm touting to be one of the better players at this level next season. I think he's due a really big year. Had a pretty good season last year, maybe not the most productive, but I think now he's had a rest. Like he came over from Ireland without having a rest. I think he's going to really perform. You got to think Mark Kennedy's another year older, had another year in managerial, the environment. So I think he's going to get on really well. And I think Lincoln are really going to compete. And the problem is, and the reason I don't think we're going to get the top 6 is because I think we might still struggle beating the smaller teams. So last year you saw we played really well against the promotion hopefuls, and we really struggled against the sides at home, the likes of Exeter, Cambridge, Forest Green, etc. I think that's going to come and do us unstuck again. So for me, Lincoln City 7th. Right then, into the top 6, and in 6th place, grabbing a hold of a playoff spot, just again like they did in 2022-2023, Peterborough United. Now, they always find a way of being towards the top end of the division. However, whoever they sell, whoever they've got, whoever the manager is, probably Grant McCann or Darren Ferguson, I think, you know, they're always going to be towards the top end of this level. You've also got the caveat that Ferguson has already been there and done it with Peterborough. I can understand why people think that the psychiatrical effect of losing 5-1 to Wednesday in the playoff semi-final might do them a little bit of harm, but they've recruited really well. Yes, they've lost Jake Taylor, got a lot of money for him though. At the time of recording, Clark Harris is still in the building, a massive player. They've recruited well. De Havilland from Barnet, the next Jake Taylor. They've got Archie Collins. Shamanga has come in. I think he's going to have a better year than he did last year. So for me, I think Peterborough have still got the quality in the squad as it stands. Obviously that could all change. We are a couple of weeks away from the deadline, but I really do fancy Peterborough United to do something this year. I don't think they'll win the playoffs, but I think they'll come not comfortably, in 6th, if you know what I mean. In 5th then, and it seems a general consensus for a lot of League One content creators that this club are going to finish in 5th. I've gone for Blackpool now. They've got the Neil Critchley effect back. He was a manager that got them promoted, unfortunately, out of this division a couple of years ago. Got them finishing mid-table in the Championship. And when he left to take up the assistant manager's role at Aston Villa, it all fell apart at Blackpool. They appointed Michael Appleton and then Mick McCarthy, and nothing really went right for them. So I think the fact that Critchley's back is good. They've got a bit of money for Jerry Yates. Yes, he's going to be a loss. He scored a lot of goals. But I think they'll be fine. They've recruited Carl Joseph, who was pretty productive in an Oxford United side that finished towards the back end of the table last season. I also like the recruitment of O'Donnell, the goalkeeper. I think he'll provide good competition for Dan Grimshaw. You've also got Jordan Gabriel still at the football club, and they've also added Ollie Norburn, who I think is a really, really good player for this level. Back in the Northwest, I think that's where we'll get to see his best football. Intrigued to see how Shane Lavery gets on this year. He's a player that I think could score a lot of goals for the pool. So I'm going to get Blackpool to finish in 5th, and when they're in the playoffs, they don't lose them. Blackpool in 5th. In 4th position then, and this again was a very, very difficult decision, I've gone for Portsmouth. Now, a lot of people have gone for Portsmouth to either get automatically promoted or even win the title due to the recruitment. However, I have got my reservations. We'll start with the positives. They've made a lot of very good signings. They've added to a very good core of players. Regan Poole, I've seen him for the last 2.5 years as the best defender at this level. They've added Anthony Scully, someone I also know really well, a very good forward at this level. They've also got the goals of Colby Bishop as well, creativity in Marlon Pack. I think Pompey are a number 10 away from potentially troubling the automatic spots. Now, my negatives on Portsmouth are they've brought in a lot of players, 12 to be exact at the time of recording. They've had teething problems. John Mousinho came out in a friendly against Wimbledon and have said they've had difficulties on the pitch. They've only played 190 minutes with the first team squad as well against Bristol City, in which they lost. So, unfortunately, Tom, I can see Pompey having a bit of a drop. I don't think they're going to be title favourites like everyone makes them out to be. 4th place for Pompey to come up against Blackpool in the playoffs, and that would be tasty. In 3rd then, I've gone for Charlton Athletic. Now, I had this the other way around. I had Pompey 3rd and then I had Charlton 4th. However, the signings that they've made in the last couple of days or so have really made me switch this around. I really like Charlton's recruitment. They've added a brand new spine, but a spine with quality. I think whereas Pompey have done quantity, I think Charlton have really gone down the quality route. Harry Eisted in goal, a fantastic player, was man of the match in the playoff final. Lloyd Jones, experienced at this level with Northampton and with Cambridge United. They've also added in midfield Terry Taylor, Teo Eden, a fantastic midfield duo to go alongside the likes of George Dobson and Scott Fraser. And then up front, they've brought in Alfie May, scored 20 goals last year in a struggling Cheltenham side. if they can create him more opportunities, he might nearly be touching 30 league goals. It's going to be outrageous. Coupled up with Miles Lieburn, due to have a really good campaign. Then you've got lots of really good players around there as well that we've still got to fit in. Dean Holden is a manager that I really rate highly at this level. Did really well since coming into the building. I understand there's a takeover looming at Charlton. If not, it's already been done. That's really exciting. I think that finally getting rid of Thomas Sandgaard will do them the world of good. However, I'm not too sure if Charlie Methven is going to have too much to deal with the new regime. However, really impressed with the recruitment. Really like the feel-good factor that's going on in South East London. So for me, I've got Charlton missing out on automatic promotions but coming top of the playoffs in third. So second place then, it was a really difficult decision which way I had the top two, but I have gone for Derby County to be automatically promoted in second place in League One. We'll touch on the positives. I think Paul Warne's a great manager. He knows how to get promoted out of this level. 3 promotions in 5 years is a fantastic turnaround. I think that Derby will keep the pain of not qualifying for the playoffs close to their chest from last year. I think they're going to go on and do much better this year. I like the recruitment. It's been really impressive. I think that the fact that they've brought in the likes of Kane Wilson, who had a stellar season at Forest Green just a couple of years ago, enticed Bristol City to pay a big fee for him. Then you've got that with Curtis Nelson, Sonny Bradley, just been promoted to the Premier League with Luton. Callum Elders won this division before with Hull. Josh Vickers has been promoted out of this division as well. I think they're going to win a lot of games 1-0. It's not going to be pretty, Derby fans, but I think you're going to be really, really effective. I think Connor Washington is a really good addition up front, but I don't think that quite replaces the goals of David McGoldrick. I still would think that Derby are in the market for a centre forward. However, with the crowds of 28,000-30,000, I don't think they're going to struggle to attract a high quality striker to Pride Park. So for me, Derby, they might be a bit boring, but I don't think their fans are going to care, because I can see them getting out of League One at the second time, finishing in second. And if we've done our adding up correctly, we have got to first place, and my title winners are Bolton Wanderers. Now, there's a whole magnitude of reasons why I've put Bolton at the top and to win the title. I think they've got a settled squad and a settled manager. A manager who is one of the best managers outside the Premier League. I think he's fantastic with his charisma, his tactical knowledge as well. A really good manager, just fits the Bolton Wanderers project. I then go and look at the squad, some of the signings that they've been making. Today they've signed Paris Magoma on loan from Brentford, who played really well for MK Dons last season. They've also brought in Mendes Gomez, Danon Lundalu had a good spell there last year. They've also brought in Nathan Baxter, Josh Dacres Cogley from Tranmere as well. Look, I think Bolton are really solid, and they've just sort of sprinkled the best recruits later in the window. Now, a lot of people will allude to the fact that they've lost Conor Bradley and they've lost James Trafford. However, if you're a Premier League manager wanting to loan some of your best talent out to the EFL, you're going to trust Ian Evatt because of the development of those two players. James Trafford has gone on to do what he did with England under 21s in the Euros this summer, and has subsequently had a massive money move to Burnley in the Premier League, so that shows what he's done for his career. I think you've also got Conor Bradley, who's going to be in and around the first team at Liverpool this season. So I think they've still got a little bit of business to do. Obviously they've got great forward options, they're rock solid at the back, they've got goals from all over the pitch. You know, you've got to think of Carl Dempsey, Aaron Morley, Dion Charles, the new strikers, Mendes Gomez and Lundalu, John Daly Barvas and Cameron Jerome. The goals don't stop coming for Bolton. So for me, I think Bolton are going to win the division. I think they're going to be champions of Sky Bet League One come May. So there you have it then. That is how I think Sky Bet League One will conclude in 9 or 10 months time. Really excited for the season ahead. There's going to be lots of ups and downs. If you do think I have got your football club wrong, then please let me know in the comments. Let me know your 1 to 24s down here as well. Be really intrigued to see where people think everyone's going to finish. Be really good to see if we can get a debate going on in the comments section down there. So thank you for tuning in. I understand it's been a bit of a watch, but I really do appreciate it. If I could guide you over towards that League One podcast as well. Episode 2 has dropped this week, so that's fresh for you. That's really good as well. Yeah, and again, just thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.